What happens when Masha turns the whole forest upside down and even switches bodies with Bear? Trees fly, animals act wild, and nothing makes sense anymore. Will they ever get back to normal? Let's find out in this hilarious backward adventure. It all began on a normal morning, or at least it seemed normal until Masha woke up, stretched, and opened the door to find the forest looking completely reversed. Trees were upside down, birds were flying backward, and Bear's mailbox had its name written in mirror letters. Whoa, either I'm dreaming or something really weird is going on. Masha blinked and rubbed her eyes, then ran to Bear's house to investigate. But when she got there, she gasped even louder because Bear was walking on his hands, wearing his pajamas outside in the garden, and painting his fence with ketchup instead of paint. "Bear, have you lost your fluff?" she shouted. Bear turned to her and waved cheerfully, only he waved with his foot and answered in a meow. Masha screamed, "Okay, I definitely did not sign up for a talking cat bear morning." As she turned to leave, she slipped and noticed she was wearing mismatched shoes, and they were stuck to the ground like magnets. Everything in the forest was backwards, upside down, and inside out. Curious as ever, Masha marched toward the middle of the forest, where she spotted a mysterious glowing rock floating just above the ground, humming softly. On it was a symbol that looked like a spinning circle. "Of course," Masha shouted. "This must be the reason for the crazy weirdness." Without hesitation, she poked it. Zap! A swirl of wind spun around her, her pigtails flew sideways, and the forest suddenly glitched like a broken TV screen. When the spinning stopped, she looked around, only now she wasn't Masha anymore. She was the bear. She had Bear's paws, Bear's size, and even his fuzzy ears. "What in the forest? I'm Bear!" she shouted in her new deep voice. Meanwhile, Bear, who had just poked the rock right after her, now looked tiny, wore a pink dress, and had 2 bouncing pigtails. "Oh no," Masha said in Bear's body, laughing. "You're me!" They both stared at each other in shock, then burst into confused laughter. It wasn't just them. Throughout the forest, chaos had spread. The squirrel was now hopping like a frog. The goat was meowing in a tree, and the rabbits had become snails dragging carrot shells. "We have to fix this before it gets any weirder," said Masha Bear. But Bear Masha was already rolling down the hill like a ball, giggling uncontrollably. Masha Bear sighed. "Ugh, now I know how he feels all the time." She picked up Bear Masha and carried him back to the glowing rock, only to find a big sign blinking above it. "We're stuck like this until tomorrow?" So began the longest, strangest day of their lives. Masha, in Bear's body, had to do all of Bear's chores, mowing the grass, fixing the roof, and keeping the chickens from eating the laundry. Meanwhile, Bear, in Masha's body, kept chasing butterflies, putting honey on crayons, and jumping into puddles face first. Masha Bear couldn't even scold him properly. Her big bear mouth just made him laugh more. At one point, Masha Bear tried to explain the situation to the other animals, but no one could take her seriously with Bear's slow, calm voice coming out of her wild little self. Even the bees were confused and flew in loops around their hive, trying to remember who was who. Later that evening, they sat side by side on a log, tired and muddy, staring up at the stars. "I didn't know how hard your days were," said Masha Bear. Bear Masha nodded, holding a stick upside down like a telescope. "And I didn't know how fun yours were," he said in Masha's squeaky voice. They laughed, realizing how different, but also how amazing each of their lives really were. When the moon rose high, the glowing rock began to shimmer again, and this time the sign blinked. "System reboot. Reset begins in 10, 9, 8. Quick! Masha Bear grabbed Bear and Masha's paw. Let's stand close. Maybe it'll switch us back. 3, 2, 1, zap! With a blinding flash, everything spun again, and when the light faded, they were finally back in their own bodies. Masha patted her face, checked her knees, and cheered. I have my legs back! Bear touched his tummy with relief and chuckled. No more pink dresses for me! From that day on, both of them had a new appreciation for each other. Masha tried to be more helpful sometimes, and Bear started letting himself have a little more fun sometimes. And that strange magical rock? Masha decided to place a "Do Not Touch" sign on it. But as she walked away, she couldn't help whispering to herself, maybe just one more poke next week. And somewhere deep in the forest, the squirrels, rabbits, and snails hoped she'd never do it again.